What's up, everybody? Welcome into A to Z Sports Picks. Brian and I are going to have a great show for you this Tuesday. Get you ready for the betting week. Brian, good to see you, buddy. How we doing?
Doing well. Not much to report. How was your weekend?
Man, it was good. It was a good weekend, man. It was nice, chill. It's the last weekend we're really going to have, without football. You know what I mean? So kind of getting prepared for that juggernaut that's coming, but I'm excited for it, man. What about you?
Yeah, pretty light weekend. Hit the beach on Saturday and lost on Uriah Hall Saturday night. Unfortunately, Sean Strickland put an ass beating on him. So apologies to our listeners if you tailed me on that piss poor pick. That was the only gambling I had going though. So yeah, that's light weekend. Not much going on.
No, I'm with you, man. And UFC is always a funny sport because you could have somebody who's a favorite, and even if they're a big favorite or not, whatever. Like, you got two guys in an octagon to where each one of them is fully capable of delivering an ass kicking to almost anybody. You know what I mean? So it's always a funny sport. But yeah, we're going to break that down and everything else that we've got coming this week. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome to A to Z Sports Picks. I'm Alan Bell, CBS Sportsline, alongside Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com. A to Z Sports Picks is brought to you every Tuesday and Friday by BetMGM, the king of sports books. Everyone make sure to download that BetMGM app. Do it right now. Get prepared for football season. If you use promo code A to Z100, you get a risk-free bet of up to $600. That's BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. I've done it, used it. It's fantastic. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years or older. Must be present in the state of Tennessee. For gambling problem support, call a Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789. So, Brian, let's just jump right into it, buddy. We are going to take a look right now how to cash in on Titans player props this season. All right. So what I want to do, and let me put these numbers on the board so everybody can see it. We're going to take a look and just keep it simple. These are over-unders. All right. And we're going to look at touchdowns for A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, Ryan Tannehill, and Derrick Henry. And we're going to look at total yards this season from the same four: A.J. Brown, Julio, Tannehill, Derrick Henry as well. And what I want to do, let's go through each one of them. And we're just going to pick over-under. And everybody tuning in the chat, please drop in your picks as well. We want to hear them and just kind of get an idea of where we're at for this season in regards to kind of, the four big star players, right? So that makes sense. You ready to play? All right, let's do it. So first one. All right, let's look at touchdowns. A.J. Brown, over under 9.
Oh, you addressing me over or under?
Yep.
Yeah. He had 8 in his rookie season. He had 11 last year, but he was targeted much more last year, 106 compared to 84 targets in his rookie year. So I'm thinking over 9. And part of that thinking is that Julio has not been scoring a lot of touchdowns the last few years. And it's not because Atlanta had some outstanding run game. That wasn't the deal. But, Julio had 3 touchdowns last year. He had 6 2 seasons ago, and he even played 15. He only missed 1 game 2 seasons ago. In 2017, he played all 16 games and only had 3 touchdowns. And then he hit 6 right on the dot. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm skipping ahead to Julio. I was just trying to explain AJ. My bad.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. I'm going to go over on A.J. Brown as well, and we'll make this easier. We'll go through all 4 guys at one time, but I'm going to go over on A.J. as well. I think that he is absolutely the truth. I think that he's going to continue to have better and better seasons. I love his attitude, his work ethic, everything about it. Yeah, I'm all in. I could not be more in on A.J. Brown, and let me just read the rest of the list here. And if I'm not picking it over, understand that doesn't mean that I'm down on the guy. I think that the Titans are facing a situation where there's so many people who could score that it's going to get a little complicated. And you've got to kind of play a correlating game here. So the last ones here in terms of touchdowns, Julio Jones at 6, Ryan Tannehill at 30, Derrick Henry at 14.5. So look, really quickly for me, Julio 6 is a decent number to play an over because I think that we could play to a push. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he has yardage and he is used to open up other guys. So I'm going to play the under on this one, but it's probably really, really close. Ryan Tannehill, 30. Yeah, I'm buying into this. I think that Ryan Tannehill is going to have a large season because teams are absolutely going to sell out on Derrick Henry. Plus, I could see Henry's carries dropping, which leads me to Derrick Henry 14.5. That's kind of a lowish number for him when we're talking like receptions and rushing, even though, he really doesn't take passes out of the backfield. But I'm going to go under on him. So I'm going to go over AJ, under Julio, over Tannehill, under Derrick Henry. What about you?
I'm going to go under on Julio, as I was explaining and pointing out some stats a moment ago. As for Tannehill, he's only gone over 30 once, but it was last year at 33. And now they've added Julio to the arsenal. Not so much for, big numbers touchdown wise, but just another weapon. So I think that Tannehill will be throwing more touchdowns. So I'll go over on that one. As far as Henry, his touchdowns, so he had 17 last year. Now that was rushing only. You said this is receiving combined?
Yeah, which for Derrick Henry, you might as well just consider that rushing. Yeah,
he's only got 3 career receiving touchdowns, but 2 of them were 2 years ago. So, so last year 17 touchdowns, year before 16 rushing and 2 receiving for 18. I don't see any reason why he will have lower production this year unless he gets hurt. But he doesn't really get hurt. He's only missed 2 games in his entire 5-year career. So knock on wood on me jinxing him there. But so it's over for 3 of them and the under on Julio.
Yep. And you know what? I'm with you. Like 14.5 is a low number for him. And especially for a guy, the red zone for the Titans interests me because there's so many people who could score. AJ can catch, Julio can catch, Ferkser, the tight end can catch, Derrick Henry can run the ball, Ryan Tannehill can run the ball, right? Like there's so many weapons. So I'm fascinated to see how that works out really quickly. In terms of touchdowns, Austin talking about AJ Brown, he says over. Kind of explains it right here. Brown's more physical. Julio might not get as many touches we all think. Not 50-50. Completely agree. I absolutely agree. I'm buying into every single thing with A.J. Brown, and that is nothing negative on Julio Jones. I just absolutely believe in A.J. Brown. Sebastian says, can we still take LSU with their quarterback being hurt? We're going to talk about that. Give us a minute. We're going to get to that. Absolutely. We do need to discuss that as well. Zach Goodman's got some baseball picks here. We're going to talk about that in just a second as well. And then Sebastian always says, great show like always. Thank you so much. We really, really do appreciate you and everybody else that tunes in. Now, let's finish this part right here in terms of yards this season. So, well, I'll read all 4 of them. A.J. Brown, 1190.5. Julio Jones, 1025.5. Ryan Tannehill, 4150.5. Derrick Henry, 1,500.5. So look, I'm going to go, God, that's a big number for A.J. Brown. I'm going to go under on that. I'm going to go under on Julio Jones. Actually, no, I'm going to go over on A.J. Brown. I'm going to go under on Julio Jones. I'm going to go over on Ryan Tannehill. And I'm going to go under on Derrick Henry, even though, he's coming off a 2,000-yard season. It's a 17-game season this year. But again, I just see a scenario where if the Titans offense is clicking across the board and it's an opportunity to limit Derrick's touches in terms of, not getting up there 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. If they can keep him around that 20 to 24, I think they'll absolutely want to do that while still, utilizing and maximizing his value. But I can totally see that. So those are my 4. Brian, what you got here? You're on mute.
My apologies.
You're good.
So AJ's receiving yards have been 1,051 and 1,075 the last 2 years, but I don't see any reason why it won't be a career year. So I'll go over on AJ. As far as Julio, 7 of his 10 NFL seasons, he's gone over 1,025.5, but not last year when he was limited to 9 games. For the Falcons. So I'm going to go under there. Tannehill, 4,150.5 yards. He has actually gone over this number Let's see, just once in his career. He's gone over 4,000 twice, but he got 4,208 yards in 2015 with the Dolphins. So it's going to be close, but I'm going to say under there. And then Henry, 1,540 and 16 touchdowns 2 years ago, 2027 last year. I will go over on Henry. So over on Henry, under on Julio and Tannehill, and over on AJ.
Nice. Yeah, I'm with you. It's going to be fascinating. I can't wait to watch this team in terms of all the talent and how it's utilized because, people say there's only one ball to go around. And while that is true, there's other teams. We've seen the Chiefs for 3 years now say, well, hey, you know what? Yeah, there's only one ball around, but we're going to get 2-3 more offensive, possessions per game, and we're going to make you pay for it. So I'm fascinated to see that. Now, jumping in to Major League Baseball, because we definitely want to take a look at some games that are on the board for today. And Zach Goodman, we put this up just a second ago. He says that he is on Boston, Philly, Yankees all money line tonight. Take a look, dude. My picks today, I've got 2 on the board for Major League Baseball. I'm going with the San Francisco Giants. I'm going to take the run line here, 1.5 against the Diamondbacks. I don't always like taking run lines, especially when you got to cover, 2 runs or more essentially. But yeah, man, the Giants are just in a great spot here. They're 10-1 this season against the Diamondbacks. They're facing Madison Bumgarner, their former pitcher, who's on the mound for Arizona today. Plus, the Diamondbacks have given up 32 runs in the last 3 games. And I know the game last night was pretty exciting. They ended up going into the 10th. And the Giants still won by 3. So I'm going to ride with the Giants on that one. Also, I'm going to take the Braves today against the Cardinals. And look, I know that they're the favorite, but I've seen a lot of people riding with the Cardinals here. I trust Max Fried in this situation. He's 2-0 versus St. Louis in his career with a 0.69 ERA. And if you look at the Cardinals, they're 25% straight up this year against the Braves. So I'm going to roll with those 2. And back to Zach, what you were saying, Boston, Philly, Yankees. Like, hey, man, I don't disagree with it. I don't have any of those picks, but Major League Baseball is all about finding, your value plays, your streak plays right now. So, yeah, man, can't say anything negative against it. Ride it. I hope we all hit them all together, man. Brian, any thoughts here? Major League Baseball?
0. How many games at back are my Braves right now?
I don't know. I'd have to take a look. I don't know where they're at in terms of the NL East. No, you're good, man. No, this is a fair question for sure. But yeah, I've got them going tonight against the Cardinals. So we'll see. It's interesting taking 2 teams that are on the road and especially one on the run line. But yeah, I feel good with it. So beyond Major League Baseball, and not that, we don't want to talk about that because it's about all you have to bet on unless you're betting on the Olympics. But there's so much going on. And with the NFL here, I want to talk about the Colts, Brian, and this Carson Wentz injury. Okay, so leading into the show when we're preparing for it this morning, it was before we even knew about the Quentin Nelson news. Okay, so Nelson goes down with essentially the exact same foot injury that he's also had for a while. He shows up today in practice in a boot. So you're looking at 5 to 12 weeks for Carson, 5 to 12 weeks for Quentin Nelson. What I want to talk about, and I'll kick it over to you, but what I'm getting at is this, is that there are correlating bets to be had with this injury, or actually with both of these injuries. So the first one I want to talk about is the Colts offensive props early in the season. So let's look at weeks 1 through 3. Even if you'll probably get Quentin Nelson back. I don't know about Carson Wentz, but this is a conservative coaching staff. This is a conservative franchise. Take a look seriously at Jonathan Taylor props. Take a look at tight end props, because if this team, especially if they roll in with Jacob Eason or Sam Ehlinger, good Lord, buddy, they are going to run the ball and they are going to play safe and conservative. So when those props start to open up, before, a couple days before week 1, pay attention to those. 2, the AFC South. So we've already seen a massive jump in the last 3 days. The Colts were the favorite at plus 110. They're like plus 160 now. The Titans have gone from plus 115 to I've seen minus 130, minus 150, minus 110. It's all over the board. So shop your books here for sure. But when you take a look at the AFC South, okay, and we're going to include AFC South title as well as Titans make the playoffs, Dude, you're looking at a division of a team in the Titans who won 11 games last year, won the division. They're going to have 2 games against Jacksonville, who could be one of the worst teams in the league. 2 games against Houston, who could be one of the worst teams in the league, who I think I would bet on to be the worst team in the league. And then the Colts, if they don't get this situation figured out, this thing could linger on. So that's 6 games. If they win 4 of those, one of them being the Colts, which in week 3 they should take care of that, this division's wrapped up, right? So, I mean, it's wild. It's wild to think about that. But if they get 4 out of 6, dude, like, it's going to be tough for anybody else in this division to catch up. So you look at, wagers for Titans to make the playoffs. It's gone all the way from like -115 to -170, somewhere around there. So people are betting it. Shop around, see if you can find attractive numbers. Also, Titans team win total this year is at 9. I've seen it creeping up to 9.5. Look, again, back to this AFC South thing. You got 6 games against the Texans, Jaguars, and Colts. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to sweep through it, and it's a long NFL season. But let's say that they get 5 wins out of the division. That means that you have 4 wins you need to get out of 11 games. Okay? 4 to push. Like, shop around, find numbers that work for you. But again, we're seeing these injuries pop up, and not that the Titans can't have any, but just pay attention to it, man, and just kind of think about that's the whole reason for this segment. I wanted people to think about these correlating bets that go along with it. And Brian, I'm going to stop talking, throw it to you. Just your thoughts on those injuries for the Colts, kind of everything that I laid out, correlating bets, thoughts. What comes to your mind here?
Well, I'm glad I've already made these bets. I took the over 9 when it was only a juice of -130 on the Titans like 5 or 6 weeks ago. And I bet them to win the AFC South. I think I got either even money or maybe plus 105. Or maybe I just got a plus 105 on one of my accounts and it was even money on another one. But yeah, so now like you mentioned, you've seen some books move to 9.5 and some have just put extra juice on 9. Obviously talking about the Titans win total number.
Yep.
To be honest, I would rather bet it at over 9.5 at like assuming it's -110, -115 juice than bet over 9 at -200 juice. Because when we went through the schedule the other day, I had 10 games that I was very confident they would win. And then there was several, swing games that they could still win as well. So, I mean, I'm confident they're going to get to at least 10, probably more. And that was before the Nelson injury. And it was kind of even before the Wentz injury as well. But now, all the more reasons to feel more bullish on Titans win total over 9. I'm glad I've already got it. And the AFC South, I think they're going to win it. And I'm glad I got in before these numbers moved where they're not as attractive. But I still think, again, if you're looking at 9.5, as long as the juice is only -10, -115, I still think you take the over on that. I don't know that. I mean, I still think it's going to be a winner, but I don't know that I would want to. Would you say the juice was that on the odds to win the AFC South for the Titans now?
It's anywhere from -130, -160, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Oh, so -130. I'm fine with -130.
Yeah.
You start getting north of -150 or so, I'd keep a bet pretty small, just because I don't like eating a lot of juice there.
Yep. No, I'm with you. And it's all about like right now. And again, we talked about, now's a good time to shop around. And look, don't be wrong. You use BetMGM. We love them. I'm not saying anything negative against them, but this is a time where you really can take advantage of the books because some books are going to have people bet these things quickly. Some aren't. And, you might want to take a look at week 3. Colts and the Titans. I know that, we talked last week about the Seahawks. Once this injury, Carson Wentz kind of started coming about, we talked about take a look at that Seahawks because they were +2 week 1 against the Colts. Now I think they're all the way to like -3. So it's really about just paying attention through training camp, noticing large injuries, large storylines, and just think, even if you got to take a piece of paper and a notebook, like I do that all the time, and just write down, kind of tree branch it of, hey, this is what could be affected, these lines, et cetera. Because when you could beat the market and find yourself value, man, that's how you make money. That's how you do it. So our last segment of the day, SEC. What we want to do is let's build the perfect parlay for SEC Week 1, okay? And Brian, we're definitely going to talk about this LSU situation at quarterback, but first, what I want to do is bring up the numbers here of what we have in Week 1 for the SEC, so you can see them right here at the bottom. And our parlays can be any amount of legs, but they have to be available bets because you're going to see a lot of teams that just don't have money line options there, especially in SEC games in Week 1. So I went straight to BetMGM, put this thing in, found the best that I could do. Brian, you ready for this? You ready for the perfect parlay I could come up with? All right. And everybody in the chat, trust me, we want to hear your picks too. Drop them in. Let's see what you got. So, Brian, mine is this. I've got a 4-leg parlay plus 350. It pays out. Alabama minus 17.5 versus Miami. And that number's live, by the way. It's gone back down to 17.5. So, Bama 17.5 versus Miami. Missouri money line versus Central Michigan. Florida money line versus Florida Atlantic. Ole Miss minus 8 versus Louisville. What do you think?
So Florida money line's a lock. Ole Miss money line, I like that. I'm sorry.
Ole Miss minus 8.
Money? What was the other one?
Let me read it again. I got Bama minus 17.5 versus Miami. Ole Miss minus 8 versus Louisville. So I'm taking the spread in those two games. And then I'm going to take Missouri money line versus Central Michigan. Florida money line versus Florida Atlantic.
I like it. I think that's a winner. I think that is a winner. So I will go with, like everybody knows. Oh, and by the way, I forget who our, let me look. Sebastian, we are still all good with our LSU bet as long as Max Johnson doesn't get hurt. As long as now their depth is compromised. If for those that missed it, Miles Brennan, he had a broken bone in his left arm, and his status for the season is very much in doubt. He's having surgery today. The one bright side on it is his non-throwing arm, but I don't. They didn't have a timeline, but it didn't sound good. And TJ Finley, who was starting when Brennan got hurt last year initially, and then Johnson was better and started the last two games. Well, Finley transferred to Auburn. So their only other, or at least in the Phil Steele mag, I'm trying to look on their recruit. Yeah, I think they only have one other quarterback on scholarship, and that is Doug Nussmeier's son. Doug Nussmeier, former OC for the Gators and Alabama, who's now the quarterback's coach for the Cowboys. His son's a true freshman. Now he was a 4-star. He was in for the spring. So he is not just, showing up at practice this week and, with new terminology and everything. But if Max Johnson gets hurt, it's going to be all up to a true freshman with no career snaps. So, but I think Max Johnson's going to be great. And if he can stay healthy, LSU will be fine. Did I do my whole parlay yet?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I got sidetracked by the LSU. But yeah, still bet that against UCLA and put it in this parlay along with and I haven't done the parlay calculator here, but I like Clemson money line. Y'all have heard me talk about how I'm not doing the JT Daniels Kool-Aid like many media members are this summer. And we don't have a first half line for Alabama yet, but whatever it is, as long as it's 14 or fewer, that would be my third leg. So LSU laying the points, Clemson on the money line. So they're -4. So I would think they would be around minus maybe 180. Or here, let me pull it up right here if they've got money lines listed yet. And they do. Let's see. Just scrolling down here. Where's Clemson, Georgia? -175 on the money line for Clemson. And then whatever the Alabama first half is. First half lines are not out, but those would be my three right there.
I like it. And for anybody that's going to be putting in their own parlays for Week 1 in college football, especially the SEC, pay attention to the money line prices because they're not always going to help you, right? If you get something that's massive, you just pay attention to the overall payout because you might be adding risk there for really no gain whatsoever. So just putting that out there for anybody who maybe is brand new to parlays, hasn't really done them. Pay attention to what you're adding. Don't add more risk for, minimal payout whatsoever or even hurting you. But yeah, this is a really good time where you can find and add, money line prices to your parlay and just get a little bit added more juice, right? To help you out in terms of that. So yeah. A couple quick thoughts before we end the show here. Mosey says, big fan of that Giants, -1.5 Braves money line in a parlay. Yeah, dude, I'm with you, man. I like the Giants in this situation for sure. I like the Braves in this situation. Obviously, both are on the road, but I'm with you, man. Also, James says, hit Titans -110 to win the AFC South as soon as the Wentz surgery came across my screen. Love it. Great call, dude. Absolutely, man. Great call, because that number is going to skyrocket. It already has. And it'll continue to do so. So, yeah, good call on that, and continue to find your value wherever you can. So, Ryan,
hold on. Let me make a quick adjustment.
Go ahead.
My apologies. I'm going to make an adjustment to my SEC parlay.
All right.
I forgot that I want to add Ole Miss on the money line, and then that way, if the first three hit, you'll present yourself a hedge situation. So, Ole Miss on the money line against Louisville. Remember, it's Monday night. That is -330 price. The -175 on Clemson to beat Georgia. The -110 on LSU -4. That, and by the way, it's DraftKings has moved that line to 4. So shop around. You might be able to get better than the 4.5. And then the another -110 will be the Alabama first half line. And I put it in the parlay calculator, and that is +646 of a payout. And again, if the first three legs hit, you could maybe come back with a little bit of Louisville +8 and maybe try to hit both of them. So there's my adjustment in my parlay.
I like it. No. That's a good call, man. Giving yourself options, giving yourselves out. It's not a bad play at all. So for Brian Edwards, I'm Alan Bell. Thank you so much for tuning in. Continue to hit us on YouTube, Twitter, wherever. Let us know what your picks are, not only for the Titans in terms of props, but what you have SEC parlays, everything that we've covered in here, even Major League Baseball for tonight. So we say all that. Thank you so much. And let's make some money tonight, right?
I'm not betting tonight, but Alan, I want you to make some.
There we go. Appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Have a good one, everybody.
Thanks.